Hi everybody, it's RetroYuuki giving you guys a little bit of a little preview of how my presentation of the Let's Talk IndieYuuki podcast will be working. There's a few ways I'm going to be presenting this particular podcast depending on what type of video or type of content we're talking about. For example, today, episode 1 is going to be talking about how fan-made games and indie games can coexist in the gaming environment. And for this particular first episode, we're going to be featuring show notes. And if you guys watch somebody like Devin Nash, who does the notepad during his commentary of business and marketing, it works like that. Although, and I'm going to be doing it during the video. For a little bit of a preview, here is the show notes for today's episode. I'm going to be going every section by section, in-depth look at each section. These are the actual show notes for today's first episode, talking about fan-made games and indie gaming by itself. Other ways I'm going to be presenting this podcast include a video game review and a particular indie game review. I'm going to be rating the games out of 5 or 5 Yuukis, as we like to say here. And for example, 5 being the best and 1 being a bad game. I'm gonna warn you guys. I am not gonna give as many 1s as you think I'm gonna get, because I believe in the idea of each game has a purpose in the gaming market. And if you give a 1 out of 5, then it feels like it's a very bad game that does not deserve to be existing. I do not want to give too many 1s. However, at the same time, I'm not going to give a lot of 5 because no game is perfect. Keep that in mind. Okay? So that's another way I'm going to present this podcast, a little game review. Number 3, I might be doing a live edition of the Let's Talk IndieYuuki. And for that one, it's basically the same topic. It's the same thing for the video series, but instead of a pre-recorded video like this one, we actually go live on YouTube. But don't expect me to start it right away, just because I'm still working out my schedule for Twitch. Because there is a possibility I'm going to try this on Twitch as well. So keep that in mind as we get ready for the upcoming schedule. And number 4, although this is more of a trial run, we're going to actually talk about the game live. Like, we'll play an indie game instead of a Mario game, for example. Our Mario schedule is Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. But let's say for one day, we're not going to do a Mario game. We're actually going to play a live indie game, and we're going to talk about it live, and we're going to get your feedback. Because we might be able to review some of the games that you're going to see me play. For example, you got to see me play tape-to-tape hockey. Tape-to-tape is a hockey roguelike game where power-ups are your best friend. And in that particular game, we actually finished the campaign in one night. But it's not all the time, because the way the gameplay works is different from each game to game. Because in a tape-to-tape, for example, if you run the campaign one time, the second time it's going to be completely different. You're going to be re-rolling power-ups, you're going to be re-rolling talents, you're going to be re-rolling artifacts. I'll explain those in my review. We go in depth on it. Okay? The show notes, by the way, if you guys are wondering, I am thinking of putting them on some type of up download for you guys so you guys can check them out yourselves instead of just relying on my notepad skills here, okay? That's all for now. We'll see you guys in the first episode officially later today. We'll be talking about indie gaming and fan games. We'll be talking about how they contribute to the gaming market and to the gaming environment. We'll also talk about how ROM hacks, are they considered indie games? Are they considered fan-made games? Or are they considered neither? And I'll give you my reason on my answer in the official first episode about the podcast later today. Hopefully you enjoyed this presentation, and I'll see you in the indie side of gaming.